All right, everyone, we're going to use clay today to make a nameplate or a plaque. Take the ball of clay at your table and mash it in your hands a little bit so it gets a little bit more flat, kind of like a pancake, not too flat, just a little bit. Place it on your place mat. This helps this clay not stick to your table. To roll this clay out even more even, we're going to use these little rulers. We're going to put them on the side of our clay. Take your rolling pin and roll up and down until your clay is nice and even and flat. The rulers help the clay not get too thin, because if it gets too thin, it will start to crack and break. All right, put these to the side. Now I'm going to roll some texture onto my clay. There are some stamps at your table. Some are rollers, some are just regular stamps. You're going to roll a design or stamp a design into your clay. So I'm just going to carefully place either my rollers or my stamps onto my clay. If I want to use one of these, I just press lightly, firm enough so I can see the design. You can even mix designs together. All right, I have a pretty cool design there. So now I'm going to take a tracer from my basket. I can either make a heart, a circle, or a square. I think I want to make the heart. So I'm going to place the heart onto my clay so that it fits. And I'm going to take a little wooden stick from my table. It should look like this. This is to trace my clay. Go around my tracer, press into the clay until you've traced the whole shape. Carefully, go slow. Now I'm going to cut this out so I can use my stick to just press into the clay. Press into the clay carefully all the way around. Good. Keep these scraps because I'm going to use these in a minute, so ball them up and put them to the side. All right, now it's time to make my initials. So I'm going to use these scraps to roll out what we call a coil. A coil is a long, kind of like a snake-like piece of clay. So I'm going to put my heart to the side. I'm going to take my scraps and I'm just going to pinch them in my hands like this. Almost like I'm making a snake. Now I'm going to roll it onto my placemat so it gets nice and even and smooth. I'm going to roll this until it's about the size of my pinky. If it's too big, I'm going to keep rolling. It's going to get thinner. Measure my pinky. Good. All right. Now I'm going to make my initials. Okay, so I'm going to make a B for Miss Buettner. You can make whatever initial you want for first or last name. Using my clay, I have to mold my letter. So for a B, I think I'll try to do something like this. I'm going to make an uppercase B. So I'm going to cut it right here using my clay tools and press that in, smooth it into the clay, and make another one. And cut. Now at your table, you have something called slip. Clay slip is kind of like glue. It helps things stick together. I'm going to use that to stick my B to my heart. Now using the clay slip, I'm going to use a really rough brush. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take some of that clay slip and I'm going to kind of wet it down in the shape of my letter onto my heart. Now I'm going to try and stick my heart. Oh my gosh, I just noticed something. It's way too big. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a smaller B because that does not fit. All right, let's try this again. I'm going to start with the side of the B and I'm going to measure it so it fits the heart. That looks great. All right, I'm going to take this now and I'm going to stick it into my clay. I have to kind of nudge it in there so it's really stuck on. All right, now I'll take my other coils, make the two other sides of the B. I'm noticing my clay is getting a little bit cracked because I've been working with it and it's been drying out a little bit. So I'm going to take my hands in the slip and get them a little bit more wet and roll out my coil again. Sometimes when you work with clay a lot, it starts to dry out and you have to re-wet it so it's nice and slick. Measure my pinky, that looks pretty good. Okay, now I'm going to take this and mold the rest of my B. That looks great. I'm going to work on smoothing this out. Let me zoom in so you can see that better. It's really important that when you attach clay, you smooth out the cracks. So I'm going to work really hard on just kind of smoothing out all the little details of this. If I need to take a little bit of water to help me smooth, I can dip my finger in the slip and just use that to smooth out all the edges and the cracks, the bumps, the lumps. Make it look nice and even and smooth. All right, boys and girls, this looks great. I love my nameplate. The only last step that I have to do is I have to put 2 holes in it so I can hang it up. I'm going to take my little wooden stick that I was using to cut my clay earlier, and I'm going to put 2 little holes in the top. So I'm going to go like this. 1, 2, and I am finished. Oh, I almost forgot to put my name on this. Flip it over using your wooden stick. Carve your name, almost like you're writing your name with a pencil on your paper. First and last name. That looks great. I'm finished. Raise my hand, and Miss Buettner will tell me where to put my clay so that I can go into the clay oven.